Once upon a time, in the middle of a bustling city, two squirrels made their home on a big old oak tree. Every morning before the sun had fully climbed the sky, the little creatures would scamper to the highest branch and play. Their chattering and quick movements blended together like threads of joy in the cool dawn air. People passing by would often pause on their way to work, listening to the playful sounds that seemed to promise that love was simple, if you only dared to share it. They were young squirrels, barely past the playful softness of youth, but already their hearts belonged to each other. Together, they gathered walnuts and acorns to build a nest so snug that the wind itself could only sigh and pass by. Every evening after the last rays of sunlight slipped behind the buildings, they would curl up together and fall asleep to the distant hum of the city. But on the day the storm came, the sky was darker than it had ever been. Clouds towered like mountains over the city's skyscrapers, and the wind no longer sighed, it roared. When the first raindrops struck, they felt cold and heavy as stones. The squirrels huddled in their nest, tails pressed tight against each other. "Stay here," the male squirrel whispered softly. His voice shook, though he tried to keep it steady. "I'll find something to cover us." She looked at him, her dark eyes shining with fear. The wind tore at the edges of their home, and for one brief moment, she pressed her tiny nose to his. It was the closest thing to a promise they had ever shared. Before he could say anything more, a sudden gust lifted the nest. It twisted, then broke apart, scattering acorns and soft leaves into the storm. When he tried to return, she was gone. Rain pounded the tree like 1,000 drums. He chattered her name over and over, but the wind swallowed his voice. He searched the branches and the hollows. He ran again and again into the darkness until his tail felt as heavy as a wet cloth, but she did not answer. At dawn, the storm at last began to fade. Clouds thinned to shreds of gray, and a pale light returned to the sky. He sat on the tree trunk, soaked to the bone. The place that had once been their home was nothing but splinters. All around him, the world looked the same, but it felt hollow. Then, drifting down from a broken branch, he saw a single small walnut. It landed near his feet, still glistening with rain. He knew it was hers. He pressed his nose to it, wishing he had told her how much she meant, how every morning's chase was really for her, how every acorn he carried had felt lighter because she was waiting. But he had never said the words. He had only assumed there would be time. That evening when people passed by, they heard a different sound. It was not bright or full of hope. It was the quiet cry of a heart, learning what regret truly means. The squirrel chattered into the empty dusk, his voice trembling like the last leaf on a branch. And in that small, broken song, there was a promise that if she could hear him somewhere beyond the rain, she would know he had always loved her, and that next time he would never wait so long to say it.